I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we are talking with author Paul Stevenson about his book, The 10th, 7 Steps to Taking Back Control of Your Money and Being a Faithful Steward. It offers valuable insights and practical advice. The book challenges readers to rethink their approach to giving and provides actionable steps to achieving financial stability while remaining faithful to their beliefs. We're delighted to have Paul on our show today. Thank the team at Astute Literary for helping us put Paul in the spotlight today, and ask viewers like you to support writers like him by subscribing to our channel. Paul, thank you so much for being our guest.
Thank you for having me, Logan. Looking forward to our conversation.
Same here. Let's give the folks at home a big picture first. Tell them what your book is all about.
So yeah, the book actually stemmed from my work when I was doing life skill training with the state judicial department, helping those people that were coming out of rehabilitation centers and incarceration, going into typical life. And so from there, I realized there was a need to teach people on how to take back control of their money because they have lost control of it. And from there, I did a series of sermons through my church. And that led to this book, which teaches people on how to take back control of their money through a stewardship perspective.
And when you say stewardship perspective, let's explain to the folks what you mean by that.
So sure, I define stewardship as someone who has the grateful, disciplined response of continuing the work Christ began, and by dressing ourselves for our faithful partners in doing what God has set us to do.
Gotcha. Let's go through some of the steps. Let's give the folks at home a little takeaway today. What are 3 things they can do to take back control of their money while being a faithful steward, as you say?
Sure. So the first one, which is always the hardest one, so, first step is always the hardest step, is to actually take control of your money, is to track it. Find out, where is your money going? Now, a lot of people feel that the word budget is almost like a 4-letter word. Well, it's really not. It does help you get back control of your money. And by tracking what you spend everything on, helps you understand that big picture you're talking about, Logan. Now, a lot of people will go, well, I have a budget. I know how much I have to pay for rent. I know how much I spend at the grocery store. I have a auto payment. I have a cable bill. So I know all that. Well, that's a good start. The details are with the devil in like, well, did you go to that Walmart or the Target and spend how much money when you came back out? Exactly. Are you tracking that? Or, that 3 o'clock hunger pang where you're at work and you go to the vending machine, you get that soda and that snack. You're keeping track of that. After a month or two, you go, wow, I spent how much at Starbucks? That's how you start getting back control of your money.
Exactly. When your coffee's $7 a cup at Starbucks, you're wasting a lot of money each week, that's for sure. Plus consuming a lot of sugar that you don't need, and probably too much caffeine as well. But we won't slam Starbucks.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about why you think people struggle quite a bit with their money. I think you've got a lot of people who are very, very disciplined, but then you have the other people who just keep on dipping that debit card until it comes up empty, right?
Right. It's the principle of you robbing Peter to pay Paul. Credit is real easy. We get offers in the mail all the time. Switch to a 0 balance credit card. Switch that balance over to us for 6 months, but then we're going to hit you with that 19 plus interest rate after the 6 months. And so there's that perception that I got to keep up with the Joneses mentality. Yeah. I see my neighbor with the new lawnmower, or I see my people at work taking a ski vacation to Colorado. I need to keep up with that. Well, I haven't saved money to do that, but I have a credit card that has a $10,000 balance. So that must be like free money to me. And that's where we get into trouble. That's where money takes control of us instead of us controlling our money.
Absolutely. So you said step 1 is to watch your budget, keep track of all your expenses. What would be another practical takeaway for the folks watching?
Sure. Another practical takeaway is you get into that habit of, okay, every month I know how much money I'm spending. I know I need to cut down on my $7 coffee at Starbucks on there. But it's those big expenses, right? It's like, I've been invited to a wedding, or Christmas is coming, or the birthdays are coming. Oh, crap, I forgot to buy my sister something. Right. Out comes that credit card. So if you look at your year and say, okay, I know I have some big expenses coming. A typical one I like to use is auto insurance payments.
Right.
We pay it every 6 months typically. Every 6 months we go, oh man, I haven't been saving up. Where am I going to get that money to pay my next premium? Well, if we just take a step back, take control of our money again and say, I know I have an auto payment coming due in 6 months for my insurance premiums. I just divide by 6 and set that money aside into my savings account. So when 6 months shows up, it's like, that money's been in my savings account and maybe I've been earning 0.5% interest, maybe on there, but at least you have the principal on there to pay that premium. Same thing with wedding presents, birthday presents, Christmas presents. If you set yourself a limit of, say, $1,000 to spend on Christmas presents for the whole family for the year, and you spend that at $120 a month to set aside, when October, November comes around, you have the money to buy those presents.
Exactly. So a lot of it is planning. A lot of it is taking a little effort. I think a lot of people get stressed by their finances and they feel like they'll deal with it another day. But when that other day comes, that's when, the debt collector comes around, right?
Right. Yes. It's that worrisome feeling is like, I've been disciplined, but how do I reward myself? Again, look at your budget going, okay, maybe I don't buy Starbucks every day at $7, but it's a Friday. Like today is a Friday for here, and it's a nice time to go out and have a coffee. $7 a week is a lot better than $7 a day. So reward yourself appropriately.
Absolutely. What role do you think faith plays in financial management and giving?
For me, it's a big part. For a lot of people, it's a small part. They don't see the rewards from faith. They say, oh, I'll pray to God and I'll say, God, show me the way. What's happening in the back of their head is like, God, please have a windfall so I can win the lottery so I don't have to worry about it. Instead, faith is saying, well, open up your Bible. What does the Bible teach us? Well, it teaches us to be disciplined. That's what the root word of disciple is. If we call ourselves disciples of Jesus, we need to discipline ourselves. How do we discipline ourselves? By some of the tips and tricks I talk about in my book and by what the Bible teaches us.
Wonderful. And by watching your budget and watching your expenditures and watching your giving, you might actually start building wealth, having enough to get by for 6 months if there was a change of circumstances in your life. And that's important as we get older. We need to build wealth. We need to invest in real things, not the fancy car, but perhaps that condo, co-op, or house, right? Investing in the right things.
Yes. A good example is, I'll go back to my Christmas present example, where you're putting, say, $120 away a month so that you have that money available, say, in October, November, when most people do their Christmas shopping. However, if you happen to see a sale in July or August and you set some of that money aside, you can spend it there, save on the savings from the sale, and you've had the money set aside. So it gets to your point, Crawford, about how you're setting money aside for those opportunities to build that wealth that you can get to yourself to be financially independent.
Wonderful, wonderful. The name of the book is The 10th, 7 Steps to Taking Back Control of Your Money and Being a Faithful Steward. You just heard author Paul Stevenson talk about 2 or 3 of those steps, but there's a whole lot more to unpack in this book, and it is well worth investing in this book because there'll be great ROI, return on investment. Paul Stevenson, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure's been all mine, sir. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.